Hello, my name is Sarah, and I want to share something that's not easy to say. It's the story of how I slowly lost myself and how I didn't even realize it was happening. It all started when I was about 16 years old. I still remember the day my parents bought me my first smartphone. It was bright, shiny, and new. I felt so happy, like I had been given the key to another world. All my friends were already on social media, and I had been waiting for this moment for so long. I created my first Instagram account that very night. I took a few selfies, edited them with filters, and uploaded my first photo. The next morning, I had over 20 likes. And just like that, I was hooked. At first, everything felt fun and exciting. I followed people from school, celebrities, travel bloggers, makeup artists. My world suddenly felt so big. I was discovering new trends, watching funny videos, learning makeup tips, seeing what others were wearing, where they were going, what they were doing. But I didn't realize the invisible trap I was falling into. It started with small things. I would check my phone as soon as I woke up, then again during breakfast, then again 5 minutes later. I wanted to see who liked my post, who commented, who watched my story. It became a habit, no. More than that, tip became a need. Slowly, I started comparing myself to everyone I saw online. One day, I saw a girl from my school post a photo on a beach vacation. She looked so pretty, wearing a perfect outfit with the sun behind her. I looked at myself in the mirror, still in my pajamas, messy hair, dark circles under my eyes. I thought, why don't I look like that? Another day, I saw a classmate post a video with her boyfriend. They were dancing, smiling, happy. And there I was, alone in my room, wondering why I didn't have what she had. At first, I told myself, it's just pictures. It's not real. But no matter how hard I tried, the feelings were real. I felt jealous. I felt small. I felt ugly. I felt like I was behind everyone. I began spending more and more time on my phone. I didn't even notice how much I was changing. I stopped enjoying things I used to love, like drawing, walking, or reading. I would rather scroll through TikTok or Instagram Reels than go outside. My grades started to drop. I couldn't focus while studying because my mind was always distracted. I would think about some post I saw earlier or wonder what news story had been uploaded. I began to measure my worth by numbers, number of likes, number of followers, number of views. And if a post didn't get enough likes, I would feel ashamed. I would delete it, thinking it wasn't good enough. And if no one replied to my message quickly, I would panic. Did I say something wrong? Are they ignoring me? Am I boring? This kind of thinking filled my mind 24/7. Even when I was out with friends or family, my phone was always in my hand. I would take pictures of food before eating, post stories during dinner, and reply to comments instead of actually talking to people around me. My parents started noticing. My mother told me, Sarah, you've changed. You don't talk to us anymore. But I just rolled my eyes and said, everyone uses their phone. Mom, it's normal. Was it really normal? Or was I just addicted? I used to sleep early, but that changed to I stayed up late every night. I would lie in bed, scrolling for hours. Sometimes I told myself just 10 more minutes, but suddenly it would be 2 or 3 a.m. My sleep got worse. I woke up tired and angry. I became short-tempered with my parents, quiet at school, and distant from friends. I began feeling anxious all the time. If my phone was not with me, I felt nervous. I would reach into my bag every few minutes just to make sure it was still there. I felt lost without it. One day, I checked my screen time. The number shocked me. I had spent 9 hours on my phone, most of it on social media. 9 hours. That's more than 1/3 of the day. That's more time than I spent with my family, more time than I spent studying, more time than I spent doing anything real. That night, I sat on my bed and thought deeply. What am I doing with my life? Why am I living like this? I remembered how I used to be before social media. I used to laugh more, sleep better, talk to people, have dreams, goals, confidence. Now I just watched other people live. While my own life was passing by, I realized that social media was not just wasting my time. It was stealing my happiness. But even after that, I didn't stop. I told myself I would change, but I didn't. The addiction was stronger than I thought. Every time I felt sad or bored or lonely, I turned to my phone. Social media became my medicine, but it was only making me sicker. I remember one evening clearly. I had been scrolling for hours and suddenly burst into tears. For no reason. My heart felt heavy. I didn't know why. But deep inside, I knew I was tired of pretending to be happy, tired of comparing myself, tired of feeling like I wasn't enough. That was the silent damage. It didn't come all at once. It was slow, invisible, quiet, like water dripping on a stone. You don't notice it at first, but one day, the stone breaks. I was that stone. After realizing the damage social media was doing to me, you might think I immediately quit, that I made a clean break, deleted everything, and changed my life overnight. But no, it wasn't that simple. Even after the tears, even after the fear and emptiness I felt, I still went back to my phone the next day. Just like a person addicted to something harmful, I couldn't stop. My brain told me, just a little bit, just for fun. And I believed it. That's the scariest part, how our own mind lies to us when we're hooked on something. A few weeks passed, I told myself I was just managing my time better. I promised myself I'd only use social media for 1 hour a day. But slowly, it turned into 2, then 3, then 5. There was one moment that changed everything. It was small, but it hit me hard. It was my best friend Alina's birthday. We had been friends since childhood, neighbors, classmates, like sisters. She had been planning her birthday dinner for weeks. She messaged our friend group, reminded me, personally, and even picked a restaurant she knew I liked. I said, of course I'll come. I didn't write it down. I didn't set a reminder. I just kept scrolling. On the day of her birthday, I stayed in bed until 1 p.m. Then I spent the afternoon making videos for my story, watching trending content, and replying to DMIs. Even when I saw stories from Alina and our friends at the restaurant, I didn't think much. I assumed the dinner was the next day. I thought, oh, they must be testing decorations or something. Around 10 p.m., I got a message from her. It was just one sentence. I guess Instagram is more important than our friendship. My heart dropped. I read it again. And again, then it hit me. I had forgotten. Completely. I missed the entire birthday dinner. Not because I was sick. Not because of an emergency. Just because I was too busy on my phone. I had never hated myself more than I did in that moment. I tried calling her. No answer. I tried texting. Nothing. She went silent. I stared at the screen, waiting for the typing dots. But they never came. My hands started shaking. I felt my chest tighten. And suddenly, I burst into tears, that ugly crying that I couldn't stop. I had let down the one person who always stood by me, and for what? 4 stories that disappeared in 24 hours. 4 strangers who didn't even know me. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, scrolling through old photos of us laughing at school, walking in the park, dancing at a wedding. Each photo felt like a knife. I remembered how she once held my hand when I cried after a breakup, how she waited outside exam halls just to cheer me up, how we made silly videos together long before we even knew what followers meant. And I remembered how I ignored her birthday, not because I didn't care, but because I was too lost in a fake world. That was my breaking point, not just because of her, but because of what I had become. A few days later, I opened my gallery. I looked at the hundreds of selfies I had taken. In the last few months, most of them never even got posted. I was taking pictures not to save memories but to chase approval, to get likes, to feel pretty, to feel seen, but in real life, I was becoming invisible Evan to myself. I was tired of being online Sarah and having no idea who real Sarah was. The girl who loved sketching, but hadn't drawn in months. The girl who once ran through the rain with joy, but now hated going outside. The girl who laughed so much that her stomach hurt, but now only smiled with filters. I wanted her back. The next morning, I did something big. I searched social media addiction on YouTube. I watched videos of other people telling their stories. Some were younger than me, some were older, but their stories sounded like mine. They spoke about the same anxiety, the same emptiness, the same loneliness in the middle of fake smiles and dancing reels. One quote hit me hard. It said, "Social media is not connection, it's performance." That line stayed in my mind for days. I realized that most of us weren't connecting anymore. We were just performing, showing our best moments, our best looks, our best lives, while silently falling apart behind the scenes. That evening, I downloaded a free ebook about digital detox. It said something that changed me forever. If you're not controlling your phone is controlling you. It was true. I wasn't in control. My phone told me when to wake up, when to feel happy, when to feel bad, when to laugh, and when to cry. It had power over me, and I was done with it. So I made a decision. Not just to cut back, not just to reduce screen time, but to actually quit, not forever, but long enough to find myself again. I wanted to feel real life again. The next few hours were like preparing for war. My heart raced, my fingers hesitated. I looked at my TikTok app, then Instagram, then Facebook. I didn't just log out. I deleted them. One by one, with every delete. I felt something strange, like I was pulling out thorns from my skin. It hurt, but it also healed. The last app I deleted was Snapchat. I paused before clicking delete. Then I whispered, "I want my life back," and hit the button. That night I felt lost. My hands didn't know what to do without a screen. I felt like I was missing something, like I was forgetting my phone in another room. Even when it was beside me, the withdrawal was real. But I was determined. I took a notebook and wrote, "This is the start of something new, something better. I am not my followers. I am not my likes. I am not my filters. I am me, and I am enough." That was the beginning of my healing. Not the end, not even halfway, but a start. A real, honest start. And for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully. If deleting the apps was the beginning, then what came after was the real challenge. The next morning, I woke up and did what I always did. I reached for my phone. My thumb moved by habits. Instagram wasn't there. Neither was TikTok. I blinked, confused. My mind felt like it was searching for something that had vanished. For the first time in years, I had no updates to check. No notifications. No stories. Just silence. It was strange, empty, and honestly terrifying. That first day was the hardest. I didn't know what to do with myself. Every 5 minutes, I felt the urge to check my phone. Even when I tried reading a book or eating breakfast, my brain kept saying, "What are others doing? What are you missing?" But I reminded myself I wasn't missing anything. I was finally returning to something I had forgotten for too long. Myself. I made a plan. Simple, real. Not just about staying away from social media, but about filling my life with better things. Rebuilding my mornings. I started waking up without my phone. I put it in a drawer away from my bed. Instead, I began each morning by writing one sentence in a journal. Just one. Some days it was, "I feel tired," but I'm trying. Other days, I'm proud of myself for yesterday. And sometimes I don't know how I feel, and that's okay. Then I would stretch for a few minutes, drink water, and sit quietly. No screen, no noise. Just me, breathing. At first, I felt awkward, like I was wasting time. But slowly, something changed. I started to feel peace, a kind of peace I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't running to check on others. I wasn't worrying about likes. I was just existing. Calm, alive. Filling the empty spaces without social media. I had so much time, and that time felt heavy at first. Boring. Even I realized how many hours I had been killing every day without even noticing. So I asked myself, what did I love before all this? I remembered drawing. I used to sketch for hours as a child. It made me feel free. I picked up an old pencil and paper and began again. The first drawing wasn't good. My hands were stiff, but I kept going. And each day, it got easier. Soon, I started drawing people I saw on the street, things in my room, even dreams I had. My notebook became my safe place. Then came books. Books had always been my escape before the internet. I hadn't touched one in months. Now, I visited the local library and picked up simple novels in English. I was rusty at first, but it was exciting. I was reading slowly, learning new words. And more importantly, I was feeling again. I even wrote short stories of my own, about life, about pain, about hope. That's when I realized my voice was not just made for social media. It was made for something deeper. Reconnecting with people. One of the biggest things social media stole from me was real connection. I had hundreds of online friends, but barely talked to anyone in real life. So I made a list. A real list of people who mattered to me. People who loved me. Who were always there. At the top was Alina. I hadn't spoken to her since I missed her birthday. I was afraid, but I knew what I had to do. I sent her a handwritten letter. Yes, a real letter. I told her everything about my addiction, my guilt, my decision to change. I didn't expect a reply. But 2 days later, she came to my house. She hugged me without saying a word, and I cried. Again, we sat together and talked, not with filters, not through screens, but face to face, eye to eye, heart to heart. That moment was more powerful than any like I had ever received. After that, I began talking to my parents more. I asked my mom about her childhood. I sat with my dad while he had tea. I called my grandmother just to hear her stories. These were the connections I had forgotten. Slowly, I rebuilt what I had broken, and in return, I received love I didn't know. I still had finding new joys I made, new rules for myself. No phone during meals. No phone during walks. No phone 1 hour before bed. Instead, I filled those moments with music, fresh air, or even just silence. I began practicing meditation with a simple app that didn't involve social media. Just 5 minutes a day of breathing. At first, my mind raced. But over time, I could sit still. I could listen to my thoughts without fear. I even took up gardening with my mother. Just small plants at first. But watching something grow from a seed reminded me that I, too, was growing. I also joined a small English club at the local library. We met every weekend to speak in English, share ideas, and help each other improve. It gave me a sense of purpose. I wasn't just learning a language, I was learning to live again, creating a healthy relationship with After about 2 months of no social media. I made a new decision. I would return, but on my terms. I created a new account, but this time with clear rules. No following fake. INFLUENCERS. No comparing. No checking likes. Only following pages that inspire growth like art, nature, education, and mental health. I limited my time to 30 minutes a day using a timer. And if I broke the rule, I logged out for a week. This new version of social media didn't control me. I controlled it. It wasn't easy. The temptations were still there, but now I had tools. And I had something even stronger: self-respect. I wasn't escaping anymore. I was choosing. And each time I chose peace over scrolling, I felt proud. The biggest lesson I learned: social media isn't evil, but the way we use it can either build us or break us. The real danger is not in the phone, it's in how we depend on it to feel happy, seen, and alive. I learned that I don't need to post every moment to feel valid. I don't need likes to feel loved. And I definitely don't need to be seen to be worthy. My life may not look perfect, but now it's real, and that's enough. Final words to you: if you're reading my story and thinking, that sounds like me, then maybe it's your time too. Your time to stop scrolling and start living. To close the app and open your heart. To talk, to write, to walk, to breathe. To make art, to learn English, to spend time with people who matter. Don't wait for a breakdown. Don't wait to lose yourself. You can take the first step today. Put your phone down. Look up. The world is still here. And so are you.